after noontime.
After noontime, the Palel Tefillah Shacharit. He prays the Tefillah Shacharit. Prays morning prayer.
Right. After the noon time of the day, it's forbidden. You have no right and ability and permission to pray Shacharis at the time of noontime and onward.
So you get 10 points for doing the whole thing. The whole you get maybe 8 points. You didn't get.
No, you don't get 8 points at all.
You just said he gets.
No, there's two different. There's two different types. There's two different things. You get schar. If you do it in the proper time, you get the reward for davening in the time. That could be different points entirely, right?
At the right time, he's done what he's supposed to.
If the guy gets a gold medal, it's not getting a silver medal.
Someone gets a silver medal.
Could be.
So, watch out.
You get a silver medal every day? It's pretty good.
So up on it. I bet you get a gold medal. Gold medal. Gold medal.
And there's another in between time,
Yeah.
which is between Chatzos and Plag.
Right.
Not Plag. What's the
Mincha
earliest?
Gedola.
Mincha Gedola.
Right.
During that time you can't say anything.
That's the worst time, because you're not here, not there. It's sort of like Ben Ishmoshes. You're not day, you're not night. It's a quasi time. It's a limbo zone.
Now what about Shema? You miss the time for Shema.
Right.
Can you say Shema during that half an hour?
Shema, because you have to really. I mean, again, Shema is only until the quarter of the day. You only have the first
3 hours.
3 hours of the day. After that time, you don't get schar of Kriya Shema, but you get the schar, the reward of mekabeling ol malchus shemayim. You can mekabel ol malchus shemayim anytime you want. You can do that 10, 20, 100 times during the day if you like. Right? But the zaman of Kriya Shema, the Shema must be read in the first 3 hours of the day, just like Kriyas Megillah must be read on Purim. You can read the Megillah now if you want.
Right.
Take a Megillah, you can read it. Like learning Torah, you'll get rewarded as if you're learning Torah, but you're not going to get rewarded for Kriyas Megillah.
You're not even get a silver medal.
Not even a silver medal.
Well, when you get a silver medal,
Huh?
you get a silver medal with the other exam.
It's like if you want to run a sprint run, you can run a 2:20 sprint now, but no one's going to give you a medal for it. Good exercise, man. Right, so just look at the Mishna Berura in one point here, just to finish up, because the next year will be beginning in a few minutes. I don't want to go over. It says here, right, V'im ta o oiver spalo acher arba shosh ad chatzois av b'she'ein lo schar. He doesn't have the schar of tefillah v'zmana, but he has schar of tefillah. He does have. So the Mishna Berura says here vav in the Mishna Berura, right? Look there's a have it there. Sifkat and vav. No, the opaque tat, vav sifkat. Vav is it? Go ahead. All over he transgressed. Right. Is that anything?
Yeah, over. Oh, yeah. Should them from his back. Left.
All over.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or avar.
He transgressed.
Or transgress will say lomar. What he wants to say is Shemamid
Should be amazing.
Sorry, on purpose. Is it purpose or?
Yeah, on purpose.
On purpose.
Purposely.
Purposely. Did on purpose. Oh.
Premeditated.
Oh. Shahar et hatifila shahar, that he
Delayed.
delayed the prayer. Ad shavad, and that he transgressed. No?
Right. Until he passed over.
He passed over
the Zman.
the time. The Laharei Ken.
Achri
Nevertheless,
kach is called. Afterwards, after the time
he prayed.
meaning after the time limit.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought even though came, so he went out, he fulfilled.
Right. Alpha Pisha Yotze de Chavos Tefillah. Even though he fulfilled his obligation of prayer.
Shechayata, even that it was not at the right time.
Meaning, even though he prayed not in the right time, right?
Who had it? The din is the first, no?
Ideally.
First, or ideally, even if you did not pray, he can
Beforehand.
it's necessary to be pray after the fourth above short at sort until at sort.
Right, so that's similar to our case. Let's say we're asking, was it the Levaya, and at the time was approaching, right? And
Approaching for what, 12?
the
10:30.
10:30 time limit. And so even though it's shortless Balach Arba Shos, so he has to therefore daven during the time of between the third of the day, the fourth hour till Chatzos, right? Eino rak she'elo skar tefillah b'zman. He doesn't get the reward of davening in the
Sure,
proper
because
time.
it's mitigating circumstances. It's not like when you do that, why don't you get recognition that you prayed? More than a recognition, because you've got extenuating circumstances.
Good.
No?
Okay, we'll stop here and we'll continue, Mr. Shemper.
So you like me, I eat those to keep my weight down. I eat the whole packet, so I don't know if
That's okay, that's what it's here for.
Well,
No, I don't mean that. I
this
don't
was
eat more.
this was full when I started.
I'm just saying, so you put on weight then, really. So, well, I say I eat it, keep
Well,
my weight down.
it's
but
better
it's
than eating that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
If you want, you got peanut butter and jelly in the
Oh.
fridge. That'll really keep you up.
No,
We're talking about you.
What?
We're talking about this.
Biscuits.
I have
It's
that,
full of
a whole
sugar.
pack because it keeps my
I
weight
tried
down.
it. I tried it by mistake.
But then I have a
thought
whole
it was
tap,
peanut butter,
so-
and I took one taste and I was
Yeah.
wow.
What do you do? What do you do?
Very good.
What time are you on?
Okay, now,
You on?
you have a choice of sure.
I'm on 10:30.
You have a copy of the schedule?
I don't, unfortunately. I'd love to have one.
Sure, sure. I have a copy.
I know you should do
I know you from many places.
Whisper.
Don't tell the
Oh.
bad places.
You don't go there as well, do you?
Oh, dear.
Oh, you
He'd be implicating himself
Yes,
as much
I
as
know.
you.
Shame on him. Shame on you.
This is one of the back issues of the newsletter.
Oh, right,
And on the back here we have the schedule.
yeah. Perfect.
Yes, tomorrow.
See you later.
Yeah,
Okay,
20,
go
you have Mishnayos.
Oh,
And I'll see Rabbi Levitt usually is coming in and getting busy with something today. I might put the over for him. But we'll be learning Nefesh Echad. So the choice between Mishnayos. I'm not sure which one is, that's what it was then when this was issued. But I'm not sure maybe about the Tsama version. And Nefesh Echad, whatever you prefer. Then the Gemara will start. And then you'll know how.
Brachamim, how are you? There's milk. There was milk.
It should be in the fridge, I think.
Look in the fridge. Yeah. There's a large container, like a quart.
Anyone has to make a bracha on Rona, good bracha. Unless you, if you want to continue eating, you certainly can.
This package can be opened?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
I might do that. But you're right, this is one of the worst things for you.
What is that?
This, health-wise, this is full of margarine.
Sugar and fat.
Sugar and fat.
There's a pizza place across the street, I'm not doing better.
Just fat and fat.
You just have to exist on air, I guess.
Or manna.
Yeah, come on, that's great. That's great. Like breakfast, usually we have breakfast usually as eggs, or sometimes French toast, or pancakes.
Yeah, he makes really good food. Our chef.
He's in Kutzlitz now. He'll be back in a few days. So then you have a little bit more nutritional options. morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi, our second share in the morning, share Mishna Berura. Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi is located in Yerushalayim here at Kodesh, not too far from the central bus station, so you can walk or take a bus. If you have a car, you can drive. If you're coming from Chutz La'aretz, please join us as well when you're visiting Eretz Yisrael. We're learning Mishna Berura here in Siman Kuf Vav, or Chaim. Miheim Potrin Mitfila. Who are those who are exempt from prayer? The Shmon Esrei, Shachris, Mincha, and Mayra. Let's just repeat the Mechaber, and we'll get a running start and then continue on with the Mishna Berura. Israel, you'd like to read a bit? Mechaber, come forward.
Yeah. Kol Patur Mikrishma, Patur Mitzvila. Anybody that's potter from Krishma, potter from Tefillah.
So it's corresponding. When you have a tour from Krishma, whatever particular reason that would be.
I think I say Krishma is the right side.
Yes.
The Kol Shechai Krishma, the converse is also true. Anybody that's Chai to say Krishma, Chai B'Tefillah is Chai to daven Shmona Esrei. Chutz
Except we have an exception.
Meham Lavin Isameis. Except for when you escort the day, when the stretcher doesn't need those people, and they say that if they need it, then there's a chai, a potter for them. Shalfa Pisha Hayim Chayavim, Krishma, even though these people that are transporting the dead are chayav to say Krishma, but Tur Mitzvila, the potter from davening, from Shemini Yisrael.
You see the Mishna Berura can explain. Okay.
Nashim Abadim Sh'af Alpi Sh'Paturim Krishma. Women and servants said, even though that they are potter from saying Krishma, Chayom Mitzvila. Nonetheless, Chayom to recite Shmona Esrei. Mipnei Shehid Mitzvahs Aseh Sh'Rala has one problem, because it's Mitzvah Shmona Esrei says no time there.
Correct.
Even if a person was Shachris, it's even though it's two Shmona Esrei. The time shehigiu lechinuch, the time they reach the age of chinuch, which is how many years?
All depends on the understanding and the capabilities of the child, and each Mishnah is different. Usually it's about 6, 7, 8 years old, depending on the capabilities and intelligence of the child.
I have to educate them.
Very good. Okay, let's pick up now in the Mishna Berura the Sifkat in base. So we're talking about the exception that they have those people who are involved with the Levaya, the funeral, but they're not actually required or needed to help with the carrying of the mita, the mace. Right? So that would be Sifkat in base.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay, I've got another one here. Go ahead, Israel, and then Sifkat Beis.
So continue next Mechaber.
No, Sifkat Beis in Mishna Berura.
Tzarech Bahem is needed for them, means they don't need them. V'etzor Lama she'einam muchanim klal. La'azor b'nesiyas hamita. Meaning to say, Mishna Berura says, I'm not prepared at all to help with the transporting of the dead person. If not for this, that they don't need them.
Because if not, that they're not needed, meaning the converse, meaning if they would be needed, they'd be put there exempt from Kriya Shema as well. So you have this middle madrega that they're involved with the levaya, the funeral, but they're not needed for the carrying of the mita, the stretcher. So therefore they're obligated to say Kriya Shema, but they're puttering from Shmona Esrei. See why? You would think the opposite. You would think that which is the Raisa, Kriya Shema, they should be chayiv in, that which is the Rabbanan, they should be putter. But the Mishnah is going to give an example why in this particular case the mitzvah with the Rabbanan seems to be more obligated in the mitzvah d'oraisa.
So the elder Simon Iron Beis if Aleph Iron Shop. You see about Sif Iron Beis Simon Aleph. We look over there later on, I think. Right? Next one, right?
Yeah.
There's a time limit for saying the Amidah.
Yes.
There's not a time limit for burying. You're talking about maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. You've got to do it immediately. Can you just...
Well, it depends. Sometimes you'll see that for the sake of certain mitzvahs, you can delay.
So there's a mitzvah. So there's
Yes.
a mitzvah to say the Amidah.
Right.
So why can't we just have
Because once the procession has begun,
Can't you go walk
You
slower?
can always delay.
You always delay. When you go to a funeral here, there's always waiting for this one, waiting for that one. There's always a few minutes delay. You know,
Right.
it's not the end for 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
Right.
so you can say the Amidah. So I'm just making a point. Sorry.
Good. Okay.
No comment.
Well, let's see what the Mishna Berura says.
Oh.
Hold on. Good. Sivkat and Gimel with Tefillah. So even though they're Shema, even though they're Chayev in Shema, right? They're Chayev in Shema, but they're cut from Tefillah.
In Tefillah Hayo, since Vihi Nidibay Sofer, it's Midrabanan, right?
Right.
V'oich Hi Bamida, since Ba Shmona Esser, right?
Right. Meaning they're going to be obligated to say Shema, but when it comes to prayer, Shmona Esrei they'll be potter. Why is that? First of all, because it's number one, the Divrei Sofer. Secondly, Oy.
V'oich Hi Ba'amida. He's standing, right?
Yeah, it has to be done when you're standing.
He's not able to wait so much.
Right. This is your point.
Oh, sorry.
You can't wait so long, right? For everyone to start stopping and to stop and delay the whole procession for the 5-10 minutes it would take for the Shemona Esrei, that's very difficult to do, to stop for such a long time.
Or Krishma Ikar Kavanasa. Krishma, the main point is to have intention, to have Kavana. Midas and Mida Shmona Esrei ain't other pasuk Grisha. It's only going on the first. Avos, right?
No, this is Shema.
Shema.
By Kriya Shema you have two things. First of all, that the primary concentration that you're required to have is only on the first pasuk, and therefore you have to stand only for the first pasuk. So that you can do very briefly, without a great interruption to the procession.
V'kal yuchal lamoid l'chaveh. What does that mean?
And you can easily stand stationary and have concentration for the first verse of creation.
When you come here, you spend a long time davening,
Yes.
which is quite right. But is there an emergency, like you've got to get to a funeral?
Mhm.
Can a saddik do it quicker?
Yes, sometimes if necessary.
So an emergency, can't they do it slightly quicker? Because you know there's a funeral and they've got to...
You're referring to Kriya Shema or you're referring to Shemona Esrei?
Shemona Esrei.
Look, you can speed it up a bit, but the whole thing is, the point is you can't stop the procession and have everyone start davening now. Right? That's not, even those who are not involved with the actual carrying of the mita, for them to stop and to lag behind for 5-10 minutes, you just make a break in the continuity of the procession of the funeral. Yeah.
Well, up to now.
We're right there in the Sivkat and Gimel, right? That we just got through saying that we're standing for the short time, right? That's not so difficult to do, right? But Wakal easily Yochla Amid Lachavim. For the first pasuk of Krishma, it's easily done to stand briefly for that one moment and to have intention to fulfill your obligation of Krishma, the first verse. Then we can continue walking, saying the rest of the verses.
So the first verse is just Shema Yisrael?
Yes. Maybe Baruch Shem also, maybe best maybe to conclude Baruch Shem as well.
And you said it then by doing that, have you?
Yes. Yeah. you really should say the whole 3 paragraphs, but if you're caught in a situation like this, so you can stop briefly to say the Shema, Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and Baruch Shem, and then continue on with by saying the Yehavta, if necessary. It's best not, but if you're stuck, you can. Vim over Zman. Oh, so what if it's going to be that by this delay, by not saying this Shemona Esrei, you're going to lose the time of the Zman Tefillah? There's a specific time limit as to how long you can daven, right? And that limit is sometimes reached. For example, today's limit would probably be somewhere close to 9:30 in the morning, right? So if you
For Shema or Shemona Esrei?
this one Tefillah, Shemona Esrei.
Really? That early?
It could be. Take a look at it.
What's the latest? It's the latest in the morning. Shachrit.
Usually it's around 10:30, that's why I was like, a little
The
bit.
Shema is early. What time is Shema?
Usually about 9:30. Shema is the 3rd hour, and Shemona Esrei is the 4th hour. So if the day starts at 6,
It
third hour is nine.
ranges from today. It ranges from basically from 10 to 10:30. That's the range about these days. Yeah. So let's say a person's approaching that time limit. What should he do? The even continues, right?
Im Oberzman Tefillah Eide sehr. If the Zman Tefillah is passed through this, Ein Tzorach Lahashlim B'Tefillah Smucha. You don't have to complete with the Shemona Esrei, right? The Smucha close by, or is it close by?
Yeah, the adjacent to it, meaning the mincha. If it was a question of Shachris, so the question is now that you lost out, you could not say your Tefillah Shachris. You have to repeat an extra mincha as tashlumim, as a repayment of the lack of davening Shachris. So you don't have to. Why? Kevan, why don't you have to do it Tefillah tashlumim?
Kevin B'Shas Kavoisa Haya Patzum Min Adin.
Because at the time of your obligation, you were really putter. Since they were assisting with the Levaya, they were what we call Oisik b'mitzvah Pater min mitzvah. So they were involved with one mitzvah, so therefore that exempts them from the obligation of another mitzvah. So there's no need to have a tashlum. The tashlum is only if you were obligated and you missed your fulfilling your obligation, but in this case they were never obligated.
Well, you know, we talked about the people carrying the.
Mita.
What about the people accompanying? Is that also sort of like on the same level?
No, there's a difference.
So can we include that? Because in the Mishnah it says accompanying, you've got to accompany the dead.
Yes.
Say about carrying the.
Yes.
So what is that issue?
So those who are actually carrying
That's more
the
important.
Mita.
Yeah.
So they're putter from both Kriyishma and from
But
Tefillah.
accompanying
They're
isn't that accompanying?
Right. Company, they're obligated in Shema, but they're putter from Tefillah. They split.
Even the accompanying people
even if they're
walking
accompanying,
in
even
procession.
Yeah.
What about the time period between the 4th hour, let's say it's 10:30, and Chatzos,
Right.
let's say it's 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say the funeral goes until 11. So you really couldn't daven, and now it's 11.
Right.
Can you now daven Shemona Esrei because it's not Chatzos yet?
Right. There are certain times when you can, because really, even though it's past Zman Tefillah, you still, the only time when it's forbidden to daven Shacharis would be, say, after Chatzos, because it's a question now, is it afternoon, is it morning? But then still, by the time of the morning, it's after Zman Tefillah, but you can still, under certain circumstances, daven. Question about whether you're obligated to do your part with it. That the Mishna Berura didn't go into details of.
So you could do it later.
Yeah.
So during that in between time.
Right. It's possible. We'll get to this Zman Tefillah. If you want to take a look in Siman Pei Tet.
Will you?
Pei Tet.
Pay Tet?
89. It's in 89.
So what's also something Rabbi said that was?
Look, we're dealing with a question now. We just learned about if you Zman Tefillah passed. So that's Lika Tefillah until a
Simon Paintex, right?
yes, okay. So we're going to learn about this Zman Tefillah. Okay.
Yeah.
When are we going to start doing the stress or amen?
Well, we did that during the Benizman, so I'm not sure we're going to I'm not sure we're going to repeat that. Daven when the minions, you can count it. It's not such hard.
Where are we, Aleph?
Yeah, I'll. Yeah.
Man, Tefillah.
Yeah.
The time of we don't do it.
What do we?
Zaman Tefillah, the time of the prayer of Hashachah, is that the morning prayer?
The morning prayer.
It's mitzvah, it's a mitzvah to begin im chanetz, with chanetz hama.
With the rising of the sun.
With rising sun, as it written, Yerauch im shemesh, with the sun. With the
You should awaken. You should awaken with the sun.
With the sun. Sharei Teshuvah, the hour of Teshuvah. Why is that something? Why did he put that in?
Sorry, sure. That's the source of that.
Oh, I see. Right, sure. So what's next?
Okay, Ve'im Yitpalim. If you continue on with continue with
Next page.
Oh, I see. Ve'im Itpalel Mish'elah, and if you pray Mish'elah from the rising,
that's from dawn. Misha'ala Amud Shachar. From the time of the rise of the Amud Shachar, they're literally the pillar of the morning. Meaning that's dawn. Meaning you have two times. You have dawn,
yes,
which is usually 72 minutes or so before sunrise, and then you have nates, which is sunrise. So you have sunrise, which is nates, and then you have Amud Shachar, which is dawn, which is 72 minutes before sunrise.
Peneham is that facing east.
Well, that's the eastern horizon.
Eastern horizon.
Right. So when the light becomes evident upon the eastern horizon, right, that's which is usually about 72 minutes before the sunrise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
if he davened then, even though he's not supposed to really daven until nates, but if he did daven from dawn, he's yotzi.
He's fulfilled. Yeah. V'nishmach va'er hited. Hited well va'er nishma. V'nishma. Go on. Nishma va'er hited well.
One second. Continue on in the top, the mechaber, the Shulchan Aruch, not below the.
Did you read Yatzah?
Yeah. Sha'al ha'er panei hamizrach. Yotzi.
Right. So even though it was earlier than the time he should have davened, he shouldn't really daven before sunrise. But if he davened 72 minutes or onward before sunrise, even though he shouldn't do it, but if he did, he's yotzi.
Why is it even if you want?
Well, because in fact it is day. Dawn, for all intents and purposes, is day now. It's not the time of night. However, and according to the full extent of the halacha, really from the time of dawn, you would be yotzi. Even if you would blow shofar or take a lulav rest or put on tefillin or any type of mitzvah, right? If you did it from the time of dawn, it's really considered day. However, Chazal made what we call a gezerah, a decree, that since it's not so easy for people to discern clearly when dawn is really, so they said most mitzvahs you have to wait to perform the mitzvah when it becomes sunrise, because that's something everybody can clearly realize and see for themselves.
If you've done it 3 times, no, I didn't know the rule. I did it 3 times. I didn't know the rule. I did it 3 times. Does that mean it's a zakat? So does it mean I can do it regularly then?
No, because you're not supposed to do something like this. You're supposed to, if a person is going on a trip and he has no choice, or if he makes a mistake in the timing, so he's yotzi. He doesn't have to go back and repeat Shemona Esrei again. He's fulfilled his obligation of Shemona Esrei. But the Ketili shouldn't do it. Should wait until sunrise. Okay, and that's the beginning of the time. But Nimshach, it continues.
ונמשך מהר היטב.
No, not the macabre, the bold print in the top.
Nimshach, and then turn the page.
נמשך ומנע Ad Sof, until the end. I don't know.
זמנה. ונמשך זמנה עד סוף 4 שעות.
Until the end.
ונמשך, he continues
The
the
fourth
זמן,
hour,
right?
that is the third.
A shlish hayom, which is the third of the day. ונמשך, so the time begins from dawn, b'diavad, but from likatila, from nates, sunrise. The time begins from nates, sunrise, and nimshach hazmana, and the time continues onward until the end of the third of the fourth hour, which is the third of the day. Which is a third of the day. I mean, if sunrise is at 6 and sunset is at 6, you have a 12-hour day of daylight. Each third of the day is 4 hours, so you have until the end of the fourth hour, right? That's what we're referring to. Now, this is the answer to your question, right? Vim toya. If a person made a mistake, want to continue?
Or avad, or aval,
Or avar, right?
but it passed.
Prayer
passed.
But he can't be like this. Somebody in this country, like he transgressed. I mean, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't wait that long. It's a transgression to wait that long.
After the fourth hour, Ad Hatzot, until Hatzot. After no, she'ain law sachar, even though there's no reward, is it? There's not a reward.
Yeah.
Katifilah is mana, as praying in the time. Shocher,
Schar.
the reward is like it. The prayer is Miha, Icha, which is.
There is. I mean, even though that he doesn't have the reward of davening in the proper time, nevertheless, schar tefillah, he does get rewarded for the fact that he did daven. Right?